I can go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the Copy. Right foot down. We had to go plan. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Look great. Ridiculous, man. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. 2 times, baby. Yeah. Holy crap.
Welcome, everyone, to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. I'm your host this week, Eric Eastep, coming to you from a different hotel room than I've been in the last couple of days. A much nicer hotel room. The Embassy Suites here, I know, upgraded me for free, so shout out to Embassy Suites. But I'm joined by our usual podcast quartet. I guess there's 4 of us.
Quartet? I never heard of that.
I was about to say trio, but I'm like, no, there's 4 of us. We're like the Beatles.
Yeah, nice.
Which Beatle are you? I think Darian's Ringo. That's just me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But I'm joined by Darian Gilliam, Jarrett Lundberg, and Daniel Baldwin. Danny B Talks. Let's get into it. Speaking of Danny, what's on your mind? You were at Bristol Dirt this past weekend. Do you have any hot takes, perhaps, that came home with you?
Yeah, scrape that crap off and never put it back down. It was fun for 3 years, but you know what? It's obviously experiment. Produced good racing the third time. The second one was okay, but it's not helping with the attendance, and that's the biggest thing I'm upset about. I hate seeing that place getting smaller and smaller crowd sizes each year, especially in the spring. The rain's not helping. It being on Easter isn't a help. The dirt hasn't really made them flock in like we thought it would. So you know what? Give it concrete and let's find a real dirt track to go to.
Dang. All right. Well,
spicy.
That's really funny because my hot take is that NASCAR fans are going to miss Bristol Dirt when it's gone. Because one, we miss everything when it's gone. It never fails that we're nostalgic as just a fan base in general. But two, I think it did put on some pretty good racing. Even though the attendance this year was down from last year, it was still well up from the last few concrete races. And fans say they'll go to the concrete races until they don't, just like last time. I think that people are going to look back at this in 5-10 years, see how different this was, because there's not many dirt tracks that can actually hold a NASCAR event at it. And the one of them that can, we tried with the Truck Series and was awful with Knoxville. And the other one that can, Tony Stewart and NASCAR are having a little piss fit about it. So I think that fans are going to miss Bristol Dirt. I think it'd be a great tradition to do on Easter, or if you do concrete, make it on Easter too, because every sport has a sports holiday except seemingly NASCAR. So I'm on the complete other end. I think fans are going to miss Bristol Dirt big time.
I like it. 1v1, Danny versus Jarrett. We need a cage match inside of, what's the big TV at Bristol called? What's that?
Colossus. I've said for years that they need to host WrestleMania there, so me and Jarrett main event versus Roman Reigns, and he'll beat us both.
All right. Well, I'm up next, I guess. So not only are 2 concrete races not only bad for Bristol, but they're bad for the sport. Danny, you were at the 2019 Spring Bristol race. What was the attendance like for that?
It was crap. They didn't even sell seats in the turns.
Exactly. So just seeing that was an absolute eyesore. And the fact that I happened to be interning at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway that weekend for NHRA, like it just by comparison, it looked like NHRA had way more people in the stands than the actual Cup Series race at Bristol that day. So I'm going to stay with this contingent that I think a second Bristol race on concrete is just bad for all parties too. Nobody goes to them and stuff. We always complain about, there's no doubt the racing is spectacular, but we always complain about the attendance, and at the very least, Dirt Bristol has brought back some interest, at the very least, a little bit more interest in Bristol. And yeah, I have to agree with Jarrett's earlier hot take as well to an extent. Yeah, once it's gone, people are going to get nostalgic and be like, oh man, Bristol Dirt was cool. And I'll be honest here, I'd rather have 2 races at Bristol, one on dirt, one on concrete, than just to have one. And that's what exactly is going to happen if we get rid of Dirt Bristol.
Can I just take 1 second to add back into my hot take that as far as Bristol Spring, I think Bristol Spring just go away altogether and bring in Nashville Fairgrounds eventually to take that date. That's what I want.
I love that. I'd love to see the fairgrounds on Easter. I agree.
I'm a fan of that plan. If they end up with 2 Bristol concrete dates once again, they got to figure out a better slot on the schedule for the spring date because they just can't seem to catch a break with weather more times than not. Although this weekend, they kind of did. But that's not my hot take. You guys all talked about Bristol Dirt, the track, the event. I kind of want to segue into our first topic. I want to talk about one of the drivers. Christopher Bell, I kind of said this at the beginning of the year, but Christopher Bell is the best driver / team combo. Adam Stevens, the 20 team, is the best team at Joe Gibbs Racing, probably for the first time since 2013 with Matt Kenseth when he won 7 races. The 20 team is in charge over there. And I predicted at the beginning of the season that Bell was going to emerge as the best Joe Gibbs Racing driver / team this year. And he's well on his way to doing so. He's got the most top 5s in the series. He's tied for the most top 10s with Danny's boy, Alex Bowman. He's now leading the points, thanks partially to Bowman and Hendrick getting another penalty, which we'll talk about. And now he has a win. He now has a win. So Christopher Bell well on his way to emerging as the best, most complete Joe Gibbs Racing unit right now. And on that note, actually, first off, before we start talking about Bell winning and everything that happened at Bristol Dirt, I'm going to ask the chat which of us had the best hot take, who they agree with most. I like that a couple of y'all were at odds. We're direct opposites with each other. We don't just agree with each other. We may be best friends, but we don't just sit on this show and agree with each other for 2 hours every week. So that's some good stuff. Let's see who the chat agrees most with. They like you so far, Danny.
I'm going for 2 weeks in a row. I hadn't had any. I'm going for 2 in a row.
Nice.
They like what Danny had to say. On that note, gentlemen, Christopher Bell did win the Bristol Dirt Race, the 3rd annual Food City Dirt Race. Jarrett, I want to start with you because I don't have all 4 of you on my screen. I'm on my phone, so I only have one at a time. And Jarrett, I'm currently looking at your face. So Jarrett, I'm going to start with you. Christopher Bell gets the win. Were you surprised that a dirt veteran finally won the NASCAR dirt race?
I'm surprised it took this long. I think towards the end of last year, maybe middle of last year, I sort of started getting on that train too of like, Bell is for real. Like he seems legit at this point. And I think it's just continued. I forgot where I saw it, but it's like, I think there was a stat showing that Bell has won 3 or 4 times in the last like 20 races. Like he's been about as good as Tyler Reddick with it. So I'd say with Bell, like I'm expecting this to keep going. I mean, I think I even said when they got Adam Stevens away from Kyle Busch, I was like, this is such a bad decision. Whoever Adam Stevens goes with is going to be performing amazing once, that season ends.
So I think they said this fun fact in the media center after the race. At 116 career races, I think he's had. He's got the best win to start ratio since Brad Keselowski in 116 races.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
He's won 3 of the last 13 if you go back to last season's playoffs.
Mr. Clutch, too. I mean, look at his wins.
Great. Yeah, he's been great, man. Absolutely spectacular. I mean, really, when you look at the top 5 as a whole, though, we were just talking about, finally a dirt veteran wins at Dirt Bristol. It's about damn time. Then looking at the rest.
To be fair, the year before was kind of a fluke. It should have been a dirt veteran then.
Yeah,
so.
True that. But then looking at the top 5, Tyler Reddick, P2. Austin Dillon, P3. He's not necessarily the biggest dirt guy, but he has raced on dirt before. And then rounding out the top 5 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Chase Briscoe. So not only is this event obviously, the most unique points race on the NASCAR schedule, but now it's starting to, you're starting to see the same crop of guys, always be what do you call it? Competitors in the Dirt Bristol race here. Kyle Larson would have been there but wasn't for obvious reasons. And I don't know, just keep this event going because I'm really interested to see obviously this isn't actual dirt racing, like USAC, different forms, but it's definitely a novelty on the schedule. Now, has that novelty worn off a little bit? Yeah, that's it definitely has to some extent, but you're starting to see the dirt racers rise to the top.
I will say with Easter changing dates, that is one issue with keeping it on Easter. So I believe next year Easter lands on the last week or 2 of March, I want to say. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Actually, what am I doing? I have it on the calendar.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's in March next year.
Yeah. I'll pull up the
which would be even worse time to try to run in Bristol, I think.
I just wrapped up our best hot take poll, by the way. Danny had double that of the next highest
Nice.
vote getter. So
That's
there you
2
go.
in a row.
And I
Congrats.
just started a new poll, and it's kind of a runaway. I asked, is the number 20 team the best JGR team right now? And it's, I'm not going to say the number, but it is.
Oh my gosh.
It is
Yeah.
one-sided, to say the least.
Wow.
Yeah, very one-sided.
Kind of appropriate that the leading vote was Christopher Bell's first number.
Jarrett, you mentioned Adam Stevens. I want to give him some credit because this race was partially won by Bell, holding off Reddick and others on long runs. But Adam Stevens put his driver out front by choosing not to pit at the end of stage 2. They saw how it worked for a handful of drivers at the end of stage 1 not pitting. They held the lead or held their track position really well in stage 2. So at the end of stage 2, Stevens left Bell out there. He had a good buffer. I think guys like Larson, Reddick were back around 9th or 10th. So there's a solid buffer there. But I think Adam Stevens deserves some credit for getting Christopher Bell that track position.
Can I just make a note about Adam Stevens real quick? After the race, we were down in the media center with me, Peter Strada, and Noah Lewis down there. And Adam Stevens was just sitting in this little lobby area at a table beside of us, just looking at the little sword, because the crew chief gets a sword too, and he's just looking at it, checking it out.
Is his sword smaller than the driver's
Smaller,
sword?
yes.
Oh, he gets like a dagger.
It's still longer. It's not like a knife or nothing, but
Have any of y'all seen
Shetty.
this will actually make sense with what you're talking about? Have any of you seen the new Puss in Boots movie?
Yes.
No.
The little like dagger that's only that big that he gets instead of his sword. That's what Adam Stevens gets in response. Somebody should edit him like holding that little just mini cat dagger and just put that in there. That would be funny as hell.
But props to Adam Stevens though. I mean, like when he started running poorly with Kyle Busch, I guess some people were looking at him like, "Hey, you're the problem." I mean, because Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe you need to leave. And now his second life with Christopher Bell seems to be working out pretty well. Now they're the best Joe Gibbs Racing team.
And to keep with Puss in Boots references, if he's on his second life, he's still got 7 more to go. So Adam Stevens is going to be around for
a long way to go. Got a long way to go now.
Darian, you mentioned Kyle Larson was one of the dirt ringers, if you will, that was not in the top 5 for obvious reasons, like you said.
He was running in the top 5, but then
he spun out on his own back in traffic. That put him behind. But before that, he and Ryan Preece got together. Larson pinched Preece off of, I think, turn 2, forced the 41 car into the wall. Preece later on ended up breaking a toe link, I believe. Later in the race, they're both back in traffic. I think they're still in the lead lap, but they're back in traffic, and Preece repays the favor, wedges Larson up into the wall. He didn't explicitly admit it was on purpose afterwards. He was playing it safe in wake of the Hamlin penalties, but it's pretty clear Ryan Preece wanted to get Larson back. So, Danny, I want to start with you. You were there. I'm not sure if you heard from Preece or Larson directly after the race, but what do you make of Preece? Do you think Preece's revenge was justified?
So we got to talk with Larson in the medical center afterwards. We did go run over to Preece. I was kind of standing in the back. I couldn't really hear good, and my microphone actually stopped working, so I didn't hear what Preece had to say, unfortunately. But with Larson, his response was basically like, there's no reason to talk to Preece about it. Like he just kind of scratched it off as like, hey, Preece is just frustrated. He's having a bad race, like he's like, what's the point? Why would I go talk to him?
And Larson's like, I mean, we're seeing a trend with that. Larson, like, I mean, he's a champion, but then when it comes to like being involved in like some sort of controversy on track, he seems just like so chill. I mean, even with the Bubba Wallace stuff, when he was pushing him and stuff, he's just kind of like, dude, like, what are you doing here? And I got the same vibe with the whole Ryan Preece thing. It was like, dude, like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like this is stupid. We should be racing. And then obviously they weren't. But that sucks for Preece though, because Ryan Preece, we've talked about Stewart-Haas racing for a while now, just sucking in general, besides Kevin Harvick. And finally, Chase Briscoe and Ryan Preece are doing their thing on dirt, and then Preece has that happen to him. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
I feel like to a degree it was justified. I think it wasn't as necessarily as justified to Larson as it just was in general to show he's not going to get run over every week. It's interesting. I'm looking at the way that they're voting right now, and I don't know if I have it. I don't have it still on me, but I ran actually this poll on Sunday night right after the race, and I was surprised. I'm surprised actually right now how different the poll is running out. It was near 50-50 on Sunday night when I ran this. And I'm noticing now as the weeks went on, more people are like, maybe he wasn't that wrong. Maybe he was justified in this. I feel like he just needed to he needed to make a message, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Do you think like maybe it's swayed a little bit because like, I don't know, like Larson's, he's, champion, drives for Hendrick Motorsports. You think the fans might be playing a little bit of favorites here, just automatically going with like the underdog in a sense?
I think, NASCAR fans, I think, are definitely predisposed to go for the underdog. So I think that has something to do with it. But again, Larson also is one of the more popular drivers. So
yeah.
Maybe they just want fights.
I look at it, I like that Ryan Preece, he's done a lot of talking the last few weeks, or even last year, from the, don't do that, to now, calling everyone hacks a few weeks ago, saying they all need to get their ass whooped. It's like, okay, you can say that, but to see him actually go out and stand up for himself, I think, kind of like you said, Jared, that he needed to do that. I don't know that this was entirely justified. Yeah, he got wronged by Larson, but not long after he got squeezed into the wall by Larson, he squeezed Ty Dillon and Kyle Busch into the wall the same exact way, arguably worse. So, they're both just, I don't know if they're necessarily both accidents. They're, aggressive moves, trying to get the other guy to lift. But, just to act like, for Preece to act like he's never made that same mistake. He made the exact same mistake in that same race. So that was the only reason after the race I was kind of like, I'm 50-50. Yeah, Larson wronged you. But, you wronged some people too. If everyone got everyone back for those types of squeeze jobs, we would have had even more wrecks than we did Sunday night. So I don't know. I don't have an issue. I'm glad Preece finally stood up for himself. There was some drama brewing with Chase Briscoe at the end of the race because he took out Ryan Blaney on the final restart. On Twitter later, he completely apologized, took the blame for it. But I just wanted to mention it because I feel bad for Blaney fans. It looked like he had a top 5.
Hey, man, look, Ryan Blaney fan. Hey, you know what? Ryan Blaney fans are pretty much used to this at this point. You know what? Always good in the race, but usually never good enough to take the victory or to take any sort of significant points. Yeah, that wasn't on Ryan Blaney at all. And Blaney's been public about the way some of these drivers have been racing for a while now. I remember after the Indy road course last year, he was like, yeah, it's just like you can't race. There's nothing you can do when everyone just keeps slamming into you. And I don't know. It's just, when is he ever going to catch a break? I don't know. That's to be determined.
Well, to be fair,
that's certainly how it feels.
At least Briscoe owned up to it.
Yeah.
He could have, no, that wasn't me. He turned across my nose. He owned up to it. And so I respect that. I think, the thing I more honestly respect though, the fact that he drove with that broken finger and seeing the X-ray today.
Ooh,
God, that looked like it hurt. That looked like it really hurt.
Let me share a personal story. So I broke my middle finger in 5th grade. So this is what it looks like now. It's all crooked now forever. Yeah, I know it's ugly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't imagine though. Obviously, his was pretty bad, obviously, but to go all out, the entire race like that and still get a top 5. Chase Briscoe is talented. The question is, can his team provide him, with, the equipment and stuff in general? Can he put up the results with Stuart Haas Racing is the real question.
I want to share, man. It's not easy to tell anymore just because it's healed so much, but right here is a big bump on my finger.
Yeah, I could tell you broke it because it's all fat.
I didn't break it.
You didn't?
Hyperextended it.
Oh,
where it's where it just bends but doesn't break.
Why does it almost sound worse?
It looks like that. Damn.
It really sucks when it's essay week and you have to write a 5-paragraph essay in every class every day. And I'm like, I can't really right now because my finger is twice the size of the rest of them. But
get the teacher to do it for you.
You ghostwriter.
Yeah.
No, actually, between that and when I hyperextended my elbow in high school playing football, I'm not great at it, but I actually taught myself to write with my left hand.
Oh wow!
It looked like a second grader, but it was legible.
Hey, in 3rd grade, you start learning cursive, so I'm excited for you to report back.
I'll get to it. I'll post on Twitter when I have perfect calligraphy cursive.
I want to call attention to a few of the spins. There's many spins.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first off, Michael McDowell, 2 360s. That first 360 where he looped it in traffic, that
was so cool.
He only lost 3 or 4 positions. That's crazy to me. You can do a full 360 and not lose a ton of spots.
And then he
But,
does it again. He does it again.
Yeah, he did do it again. The second one wasn't quite as impressive. Also, Fox
Yeah.
couldn't get a camera on it to save their life. So,
Hey, that's so cool though. That was so cool.
My bad. I was going to end the poll from earlier. 64% of our viewers, 66, sorry, percent said that Ryan Preece's revenge was in fact justified. But can we talk about the inconsistency caution calls? So, okay, let me just say this first.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with the inconsistency most of the night. I think it was clear if someone was stopped or stopped facing the wrong way, they were throwing it. But if you spun facing the right way, you were able to still kind of keep rolling. They were more hesitant to throw it. I honestly didn't have a problem with that. Maybe it wasn't the most safest thing in the world, but it was best for the show. The problem was at the end, they threw that caution for Kyle Busch, who spun lazily onto pit road. That was obviously the wrong call. They then didn't throw the flag for Blaney wiping out in the middle of the entire pack. So, Darian, I mean, what did you make of the officiating? Did you have a problem with it all night or just the end there? With those two calls?
Actually, I thought up until Kyle Busch's that whole, wacky caution deal with Kyle Busch, I thought NASCAR officiating for the most part was like damn near perfect. I'm going to be honest with you. And I know some of y'all listening and watching are like, wait a minute, what are you talking about, Darren? I'm like, all right, just hear me out for a second. Because whenever there were these like single car spins and stuff, I mean, like, NASCAR, they've had a history of just like, caution for like just any little thing on the track. For the sake of the show, we need, proper race flow, to make Dirt Bristol work. Because if you're just throwing out a bunch of cautions and stuff, they're not racing. They're just going to be pacing the entire time. And, there's no point in that. So if there's a single car spin and stuff, or, a whole 360 spin like Michael McDowell did twice, then, like if it affects other drivers, then sure. But if they're like spun out, all the way off the racetrack by themselves, then no, keep the race going. That's why it was so confusing towards the end where Ryan Blaney's spin wasn't a caution, but then Kyle Busch's was a caution, but other than that, though, I thought NASCAR officiating, they did it right for the most part. I mean, like to make Dirt Bristol work, the race flow has to be, I'm not saying the race flow has to be like perfect, but it has to be somewhat decent at the very least to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I can't say I was too upset, to be honest with you, just because of, like Darian said, the race flow and everything like that. But it was so clear as day that last caution was meant to bunch them up. Let's get a restart at the end and like let's go like that. And I don't like that. It's
a shame. It ruined a great finish.
It was kind of too bad because we were seeing like honestly just like good, like they were riding the high line or trying to make the run on each other.
Actual racing.
Now I will point this out, and I think this is why NASCAR did it. If I'm not mistaken, there was only one, if there wasn't one, no passes for the lead on track that race. There were only 4 leaders and 4 lead changes all race.
There was one point where a couple guys were throwing sliders at each other.
Yeah, that was the only point they could they passed for the lead. So I'm not saying that and justifies NASCAR throwing a BS caution, but I'm understanding why they did it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. But if somebody is clearly, or there are 2 cars clearly getting away and they're fighting up front, a bunch of them, let them fight it out. Like that was completely out of the way. There's no reason for it. Like, what, do you expect Kyle Busch to turn into Kevin LePage all of a sudden? Like, I don't think so.
But what made this even more blatant was, didn't he spin directly on pit lane?
He lazily listed to the left. That's all he did.
I was like, come on, NASCAR, like you were doing great up until then, but
you had it, and then you didn't.
No, because Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick, man, they were about to have like one of the greatest Bristol finishes, I thought. Now, obviously, that very last caution needed to be called. I mean, the car was stuck on the track. But
the Blaney deal, I think, is kind of surprising they didn't throw a caution there because he got basically, and Chase Briscoe admitted he did this after the race. He admitted that he hit the turtle, basically went way too low, hit the turtle, and it self-corrected itself back into Blaney. So that was a little, maybe it should have been cautioned for that one.
Yeah.
Because Blaney kind of got screwed over by that.
Oh, not kind of. He did. He got completely screwed.
Absolutely. Before we start to get to things like the ratings and the poll, of course, I want to give a shout out to Ty Gibbs, 4th straight top 10.
Yeah.
Was it another 9th place finish? What did he get?
I think it was 10th this time, even less sexy.
and actually, really quick, can I go over the top 10 really quick? I mean, I just want to go over some notables. We already went over the top 5 earlier, but just go over it again. Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chase Briscoe, top 5. The 6 through 10, very interesting. Justin Haley, Martin Truex Jr., Todd Gilliland, Kevin Harvick, and then Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10. So a lot of feel-good stories. I think the biggest one is Justin Haley, just because their appeal got denied for their penalties and stuff, and then now they back it up with a top 10 in the Tide ride, by the way. Beautiful ride. And then Todd Gilliland
and the gain car looked good.
Yeah, exactly. And then Todd Gilliland, he's really he's been performing better than I thought. I mean,
four straight 15th or better finishes.
Yeah,
he's just showing off to himself, like, deserves the right for not letting me finish the whole season.
Well, and you want to hear something crazy? Todd Gilliland, we're probably gonna think, oh, front row car, and then runs a couple here with like Rick Ware or whoever. Todd Gilliland is currently 23rd in the points, 37 out of the playoffs, right near guys like LaJoy and Austin Dillon, and above guys like Bubba Wallace, AJ Allmendinger, Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, and then all the slow Fords. And
it sounds to me like a team just needs to have faith in this guy, get the right sponsorship deal together, and just run a full season with the team.
At least we know no matter what, he'll have a Rick Ware ride at this point. So,
yeah. Well, he's back in the 38 this weekend, but we'll get to
when he needs it.
Okay.
True. Yeah,
like, damn, that was pretty good.
Is this true? I saw Justin Haley, congratulations, also got engaged this week. Is it true that is it true that her name is Haley and her name's gonna be Haley?
Yeah.
John in the chat just dropped that message. That's insane.
All it makes me think of is the droids in Star Wars. Roger.
Oh my gosh, that's funny though. I mean, congrats, but that's a funny little note.
Haley.
Speaking of the chat, we have over 600 live viewers, and I asked them, will Ty Gibbs, again, full race top 10 streak, will Ty Gibbs make the playoffs this year? It's pretty close, but 59% are saying no, he will not make the playoffs.
The disrespect, bro. He's been so consistent. Like, look,
maybe they're thinking he's got to win because we've had a good amount of winners.
Yeah, but I know we had a good amount of winners, but bro, I mean, he's been consistent, man. You don't think at the very least a fluke win's gonna come here or there based on I don't know, like a bunch of people wrecking field mileage, like something crazy or whatever.
He has to get past McDowell.
Yeah, true.
Who's ahead of him in points?
Oh yeah. So where exactly is Ty Gibbs in points right now?
18th.
9 down.
I'll take it. I'll go with yes.
It was funny because right when you said because I can see it on my end, right when you go, he's been consistent all season, it goes 18th in points, Gibbs.
All right, so let me rephrase that. He's been consistent for at least the past 4 to 5 races.
Enough. He's been consistent enough.
Enough. Right. But I'll go with yes.
What'd y'all think of the Choose drone? Those Danny, you saw it in person. Did you get a good view of it? I posted a video of it. I saw.
Maybe I did. It was very visible though. I'll say that. Like, you could definitely see it good. There was nothing to worry about. I think that's the only place I would want to see it. Don't start bringing us every night race we go to because that's just dumb.
It's cool though. I mean, it was cool at least from the TV.
I'm glad they put a camera on it. Not that it was the most amazing view in the world, but it was kind of a nice touch.
I mean, I still think it would have been fine, honestly. Just literally when they're on the backstretch, run out the cone, be right at the rope. Okay, they're done. Bring it back in.
Can I just say this though? I personally think that NASCAR's broadcasts don't cover the choose well enough. Like, sometimes they come back from commercial and they're like, they just got done choosing, or they're like, oh, here's the choose, and every now and then they'll have the graphic for it. Like, that's really, especially towards the end of the race, that is really important for who ends up where, or in a stage, or wherever. Like, that can be some kind of strategy a fan can follow. That, and this is a pet peeve of mine because I take notes through the race. Fox, for the love of all that is holy, please, when you show who finished in the top 10 in the stage, don't cut off before the top 10 is even finished. I have to go on the NASCAR.com leaderboard to get the finish of the stage because Fox would be like, and 5th place is this, and we're going to go to commercial, sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Just trying to go to the top 10.
It's a pet peeve because I'm somebody who always likes writing down all the stats and like knowing what's going on. And I should not have to go to a secondary app because the top 10 was only on screen for 8 seconds.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, just a little pet peeve. But I mean, for the most part, I thought the broadcast was pretty good. I mean, I felt like it it really showcased the spectacular racing we had saw, especially in the midfield at times too, especially towards the end of the race. And I don't know, just the commentating too. Like it seemed like they had way more energy this weekend. I could be wrong, but at least that's the vibe I got from it. But yeah,
the commentary was good. I didn't really have an issue with that. Cameras for the most part were good. I thought they followed mid-pack battles well. They just missed a few spins. That there's one part I think in stage 2 where all hell was breaking loose and we barely got a camera on any of it. And maybe there's some replays later on, but like in the moment it was a lot of this guy's around, and we're not seeing it, and that was frustrating. But that's it is what it is.
I think I said it in one of my post-race streams, but I was like, the broadcast, like the commentary wasn't that bad today. I'm like, it's either they've gotten better or I've just become numb to it.
Once NBC takes over, we'll really know how we felt about Fox.
Hey, they're already filming driver promos for it. I saw Bubba's was filming something last weekend, so it's just around the corner, y'all. Just around the corner.
Before we get to the famous Iceberg poll, we already kind of addressed this on our hot takes, but one word answer. I'll go down the list. Should the Bristol Dirt Race return on or around Easter weekend next year? Darian, yes or no?
Yes.
Jarrett, what do you think?
C.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. I'm not bilingual, but I knew that one. Danny, I think I know where you stand on this.
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm gonna say yes. I would like to see it one more year because I thought the racing was fantastic. But you're right, Danny. The attendance was not as impressive as the last year.
If we're gonna do it, sure, just go with what we've been trying. But I don't want it to.
Well, while the attendance wasn't as good either, we can also point to the ratings. So I think that the stats do seem to be backing up your case, Danny. The ratings on Fox this week is a 1.88 rating and 3.45 million viewers. Both are down roughly 14% from last year. 800,000 viewers in the key demo, though, which is actually a higher percentage than we're used to. That's roughly 23% of the total viewer base. The truck race, meanwhile, was also down about 9.5%. Still got over 1 million viewers on FS1, but just worth mentioning. I mean, those numbers are very much in line with the past 4 or 5 weeks. Now, Chase Elliott, we'll talk about this in the second half of tonight's show, but Chase Elliott is back at Martinsville this weekend. So we might start to find out over the next couple of weeks. We've been seeing 10 to 15% decreases. How much of that was the Chase Elliott effect? We'll start to find that out here in the next couple of weeks.
I think it'll go up a little bit. I think it'll probably boost it. Let's just say 9%.
I think it'll be 4 or 5% at first, then maybe 7% the next week. Then
I will say
word has to get out.
This happening 2 weeks before Talladega is going to be a huge boost in general, because there's always, I've noticed this, and maybe it's just being on YouTube watching analytics and stuff, but I've noticed there's always like that fall off in April, and then Talladega, you start getting it back up, and by the time you get to the month of May, IndyCar helps all ships rise with that. And it goes from there. But having that extra boost week, I'm hoping that'll help. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm not expecting it to, but I think it'll at least help compared to the last couple weeks. Now, if it doesn't beat last year's race that was delayed 2.5 hours due to rain, we have some serious problems on a Saturday night, no less. Like, this race should be higher than last year on all counts.
I think Chase Elliott returning is going to stop some of the bleeding, but not fully.
I agree. So I think it's time to hear what our viewers had to say after the race.
Yes. It's time for the poll, the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Well, a lot of people had a lot to say about the Bristol Dirt Race. 27% said that it was a great race. Then you had 45% saying it was good, so 72% net positive. 17% said it was average, 6% below average, and 5% said it was bad. So 11% were more on the negative side. A little higher than usual from a lot of polls we've had this year. Darian, I told you about the first comment already, so you can't talk here.
Yeah.
From Shugs B Meows.
Oh, it's got to be a meme.
Yeah, meme.
All right, I'm not reading the whole damn thing because it was a freaking book.
Shugs.
Shugs has a wild mind.
Just making those little paws go to town.
Yeah,
for
real.
So Shugs B Meows wrote a letter. Dear Daddy and Mommy, This is gonna get taken out of context. Whenever you finish your podcast meeting on the TV, can you please take me to one of those NASCAR races at Dirty Egg Track? Love the official cat of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast TV. Shugsby meows, and then it goes XOXOXOXOXO.
Oh, damn. So he's calling NASCAR NAPCAR. That's funny. That's funny.
Well, to be fair, Shug sleeps during all races a lot.
Now, so there you go. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Let's look at some of the other comments here. The first comment was from Blake, or like top comment at least, voted wise, was from Blake. Said, that was fun. Thoroughly enjoyed the race tonight. Last 15 laps of stage 2 was great. Really hoped Austin Dillon was going to win that.
Yep, that was fun. We were having fun.
NASCAR comparisons. Says, I'm so happy for Christopher Bell. He is the most consistent driver at JGR right now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. He has a bright future ahead of him if he can keep this level of consistency for every season.
Yeah, it's just the beginning.
And then this will be the last one I'll read from the top, and then we'll kind of go to the guys in the middle. But from Justin Berg, great race, multiple grooves all night. Congrats to Christopher Bell. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll until it refreshes 3 times and see what comes up. Tank Slapper says, a little heavy on the cautions early on, but the slide jobs were fantastic all night long.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say this was the best prepared version of Bristol dirt we've seen so far. Like, it was slick, it was awkward, but there was multiple grooves almost the entire race.
Even the little tears that were starting to form in the middle of the track, it was adding character into it.
Hey, props to the track prep. They used 2 Truck Series drivers, Raja Karuth and Grant Enfinger, I believe, were the 2 drivers, and they were prepping the track.
Yeah, so. When I was walking in, I was like, wait, why is Raja in his fire suit? Did I miss something? Is he driving for somebody?
Is there a multi-class race going on here?
He'll be in the 51 tonight.
But then I saw Grant Enfinger right in front of him. I was like, okay, they must be prepping a track or something.
Yeah, but they did a great job. Yeah.
Another comment from Dexter here says, I wonder how this race would have gone if they ran it in 2006 with high horsepower Gen 4s.
Oh, that's a major what if, yeah.
So late
well,
models.
I mean, we've seen ARCA Gen 4s run on dirt, so
yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to find ones that aren't books. Okay, Grunk McSaucy.
I like that name.
That aren't books. That's still laughing at the last comment.
Grunk McSaucy says, I thought it was so-so. The racing was good in heavy traffic, but out front you could catch the leader, but I didn't see a lot of passing up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's true.
Jack says, for Blaney fans, more pain for us.
No, seriously, yeah. Y'all are just used to it at this point.
All right, here's one I like on just all counts here. It's from Isaac, who's somebody who's been a fan for a while.
That's Isaac.
And it's 2 halves here, and it's edited. It says, McDowell supremacy be like, I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. And then there's an edit. I like the edit even more than that. Also, my mom's birthday is on Thursday, and her favorite driver is Michael McDowell. Can I get a McDowell supremacy for my mom? McDowell supremacy.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Isaac's mom.
He's actually been running pretty good without the old crew chief, and I thought it's over now, but no, it's been great.
Speaking of that, does Blake Harrison did they come back this week?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that's good for you. Yeah, good for you. You're like, yeah, I've been waiting for that.
I want to go from 8th place every week to running for wins again.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if 8th is the worst they can do, that's pretty damn good.
I still gotta say this for Bowman and his team. They fell to 11th after a bad run at Bristol, but they only went to 7th after that last penalty. So all in all, that speaks as to where their season was. So
yeah, they'll be okay.
I'm gonna apologize now. I don't know how to read this person's name. We're on the bottom 3, by the way.
Okay.
Leaves a really simple comment. Horrible race.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you, sir. All right. Moving on.
JSEC says, get rid of dirt racing in NASCAR. A wreck fest of a race. I know I'm in the minority, but I strongly dislike this race.
Well, that wasn't necessarily a wreck fest. I mean, they were barely. I mean, yeah, for the most part, I thought they were calling the cautions the right way. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some sort of race flow.
The race still ended in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, like if it was really a wreck fest, it would have been way over. But I disagree.
All right, the last one's from Ghost Killer, but half the letters are numbers. Boring.
He
Make
actually
this
cut
race.
out his mic.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I was just going full Darian.
Wow, that's weird.
Hold on,
I usually do
I
that.
thought you had froze at first too.
Yeah.
All right, there.
All right,
now
my
it's
bad,
full
go
Darian. I
ahead.
made the lightning go. But boring. Make this an exhibition race instead of a points race.
I
I
mean,
think we say that about a lot of things. Clash is an exhibition race. Chicago Street should be an exhibition race. Bristol Dirt should be an exhibition. Like, honestly, they could all be points. Maybe not the Clash, the Coliseum, but they could. The rest of them could be points races. We've done
yeah.
it 3 years in a row. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, why would we change it to a non-points race then? I don't know. Like, but no, I love Dirt Bristol. Keep it for good.
But that was the poll.
Yes, and that'll conclude this edition of the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
I want to say we've received a ton of super chats tonight. Really appreciate everyone's support. We will read the first batch of those here roughly at the top of the hour. Real quick, let's talk trucks, gentlemen. Joey Logano finished dead last on Sunday, but he dominated Saturday in that 66 truck. I don't know what else there really is to say other than I thought the racing behind him was great.
Yeah, the racing behind him was pretty great. And then, you know what? Go ahead, Jerry. I see you raising your hand. What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
Norm Benning set a record. He's the oldest driver to score a lead lap finish in the top 3 series of NASCAR.
Oh wow.
Wait, he finished on the lead lap?
Wow.
24th.
I missed that because I walked by his truck after the race and it was smashed into pieces in the back. I was like, dang, this truck's seen better days. And Claudia was like, that's Norm Benning. It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
All I'm gonna say is I'm happy. Norm getting the recognition he deserves. And I'm more than happy to be a Norm Benning fan this week.
And not bad. I think like yeah, the racing up front was I mean like the top 3. I'm looking at having it pulled up on my screen. Joey Logano, Ty Majeski, William Byron, basically in a league of their own, pretty much. But then really from 4th through 11th to 12th, we had some very interesting battles, especially towards the end there. I thought Rajah Caruth got his what would have been his first career top 10 in the truck series, but no, he ended up finishing 11th, barely losing out to Matt DiBenedetto. But then Caden Honeycutt really stole the show. He was spectacular. Matt Crafton doing a double duty was good. Chase Briscoe driving the 22 was, for that equipment, it was decent. And then finally, Haley Deegan ended up finishing ahead of Jonathan Davenport, 13th over 14th place. But she was running up front for a little bit there too. Obviously it's dirt, so I don't know. Like I feel like for Haley Deegan, I always expect a top 10, but like I don't know, just he never can really deliver like that at Dirt Bristol. And then finally, Carson Hocevar, I mean, was the big winner a week ago, but then was just me. Not he was in the race, but then we barely saw him. Basically,
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. But yeah.
No, that's kind of it about the truck race. I thought it was good behind Joey Logano. I really thought Ty Majeski maybe had something for him, but Logano would just get such a huge jump on the restarts.
It was the same top 3. It was Logano, Majeski, Byron. Those 3.
In all 3 stages, right?
Yep.
The whole way. Like I want to say they said Majeski's average running was like 2.2, I think.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's crazy.
Which surprises me because his background is not in dirt. It's more in asphalt late models. So,
but
pretty good job.
The funniest part about this race, though, took place afterwards when Logano, he's like asking, like somebody asked him a question about the fans or whatever. And he said, yeah, one of them gave me the middle finger, 2 middle fingers the entire race. It just wouldn't stop. Like I was like, is he actually watching the race or is it
when I heard it, I thought that sounded like something Dalton Good would do.
Yeah, and then what do you know? I go on Twitter, refresh it, boom, there's Dalton Good just giving the old freaking salute, the old 2-finger salute there the entire time. So yeah, it was.
I'm not gonna say that I was happy that Kyle Busch spun around towards the end with Dalton there, but I definitely wasn't upset. I'm sorry. Dalton angry about Kyle Busch is great entertainment.
Yeah, it is.
All love Dalton, all love.
And then I just thought it was funny because Logano addresses that, and then I immediately refresh it, and then afterwards I see like, oh, that was him. I knew it. Like I didn't want to assume, But then I kind of had an idea of like, okay, I think I know who it is.
But at the same time, I saw where Dalton was sitting. He was pretty high up. I'm like, how did Joey see that?
Hey, it must have been that boring of a race because Logano was so out front. He was just like, yeah, might as well look. Oh, yeah, and he's got the glasses on. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, Eric. Yep, he's got the goggles.
It
on.
is short track racing.
It is short track racing.
Well, would you
gotta
look
have
up
your
there? Hey, that guy in the Kyle Busch stuff is flipping me off.
You gotta have your goggles on.
Coleman, can you reach over and spit on that guy for me?
So yeah, no, congrats to Joey Logano, a Leach Truck Series victory. Good job.
Off Frick, I like that in the chat from the debut videos. Well, gentlemen, we're almost to the halfway point, which means there's a change in the air, change in the weather, Darian. Isn't that right?
Most definitely, most definitely. Damn, I feel like this is the earliest we've done this in a while.
We're clicking by, it's
oh my goodness.
Hey, I like a lot to get to.
Hey, I not only do I like this pace, I like it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Well, lightning was a little off base there. It took a minute to all come in, but we got a few things here. Denny Hamlin's penalty was upheld. Shocker. I'm just very surprised here. But a nicer thing to talk about, kind of more serious topic that ended with a very good ending here. Richard Childress Racing and Richard Childress loaned one of their planes to a North Carolina county sheriff's office to help bring home a missing child to her family in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Nice.
So good stuff there. This is an interesting one. The United States has put a GM infantry squad vehicle into production with frames provided by Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh,
interesting.
I mean, hey, if it can withstand flips at Daytona, it might be good for battle.
The machine be turning. Cale Yarborough, unfortunately, has been reportedly been ill recently, so keep him in your mind's prayers. Though I haven't heard any negative updates, so I think that's good news until we hear otherwise. Daniel Suarez will be running the SRX race at Thunder Road on July 20th.
I'll be there for that one.
Yeah, I like that. Get some of these younger guys in there.
Sundrop is releasing a limited time Dale Jr. branded can as part of the renewed contract with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Again, according to Adam Stern.
I tried Sundrop for the first time today. I'm in North Carolina. And
compare it to Mountain Dew.
I'll be honest, I haven't had Mountain Dew in a while. It tasted exactly the same. With Coke and Pepsi, you can maybe taste like a slight difference.
Yeah.
I haven't had Mountain Dew in a few months at least, probably, but I didn't taste much. It was really good. I didn't realize it was a Dr. Pepper owned company. I love me some Dr. Pepper,
even better.
So
You're ready to go.
I support Sundrop to the fullest.
One more story here, and then one thing I got to remind fans about. But starting up here, Fox Sports will have a few broadcasts in 4K, and it looks like the first of those will be the Coca-Cola 600.
Oh, wow.
And side note, you don't have it on there, but when we go to Coke 600, we will see the return of NASCAR race day.
Oh yeah, that's true. For SMI tracks. It's only for the SMI tracks, correct, Danny?
Not all of them, but they've got like a schedule like 6 of them that are going to be coming up.
Okay.
And then last one, next week is the due date for your top 75 lists of all time. And again, April 19th at midnight. When it hits 420, you're getting denied. Just let you know now.
And we're making this easy because we're going just Cup guys only. Because I've been starting to see all the people they're adding into. It's like, dang, I would have thought to do that one because like they're going for all the series now for the real list.
No, we just want the Cup guys. We're just going to keep it simple, short, sweet, and to the point.
And all of us already have ours in. They're very.
I got mine in like 10 minutes before the deadline, like I promised.
16, but who's counting?
Right before the deadline, just checked into a random hotel.
Oh crap! I forgot to hit send.
See, that's why I sent mine early because I was like, this is gonna drive me crazy. So
I was like Santa Claus. I was checking my list twice. All that nonsense.
See who's naughty or nice.
I'll say this. So it's at weeklypodcastguest at gmail.com. Weeklypodcastguest at gmail.com. I'll say this about our picks, at least the four of us. None of us had any driver at the same spot in our list. Like in the sense that like there were not There was not one driver that was like all P69 or number one. There was close. There was close. One of them has number 7 with 3 lists, but other than that, only the only overlap would be 2 lists. So we have a good amount of variety in this list.
So we all have someone different at number 1, is what you're saying.
I can't say that just yet.
I won't say that
just yet because I got to add in the chat with it too.
Okay. 2 of us might have the same number 1, but then the other guys might have something different. That's interesting.
Yeah, true.
So
interesting.
But that's it. I think that's it.
And that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Look at us a few minutes ahead of schedule. Thank you all so much for your very generous super chats. I'm going to do my best to read as many and answer as many as I can here in the next 3 minutes. Starting with NASCAR Sun 2414 sent 2 before we went live. First question was, should NASCAR give teams more off time since this is their only off weekend? Should NASCAR race Easter weekend or make this the off weekend for teams? What do we think?
I'll say race it. I mean, they have a ton of time, a longer off season now. You have one off weekend already. Just have at some point a Carolina swing, so they're at home for like a month or so. Like you have a bunch of Carolina tracks.
I'd say race it. I agree.
I keep it close by, but race it.
I'm fine giving them Easter off. It would just be pushing the season back 1 week. At the end of the day, that's not that big of a deal to me.
NASCAR Sun 2414 also asked you, Darian, should IndyCar race half road courses and half ovals going forward?
I've heard this argument before, 50% ovals, 50% road / street courses. I feel like the days of the IndyCar schedule having a half its schedule being ovals are basically long gone. So I'd say if they can get it in the 35 to 40% range, that'd be pretty good.
Bailey sent a very generous $20 super chat, said, I think the answer to the best driver for JGR is Tony Stewart. From 04 to 07, he was carrying JGR. And there's a bunch of stats in here.
Oh, we're doing all time. Okay.
But then they say JGR is irrelevant without Tony, I think. I would argue if we're looking at just their JGR tenure, this is all over Twitter yesterday. Kyle Busch is obviously the best Joe Gibbs Racing driver ever. He has like almost double as many Cup wins, same number of Cup championships as Stewart. Again, focusing on their JGR tenure. But if you're talking about bigger picture, there is an argument to be made. Tony was carrying JGR in the mid 2000s. Kyle Busch got there when Gibbs was already really good.
I agree with that because at the time you had Denny Hamlin there too for a couple of years towards the end, but then you had Jason Leffler and JJ Yeley not running as good. So yeah, I see what he's saying. I just think the stats are just so heavily in favor of Kyle Busch during their JGR tenure. That's my only thing. Says Tony ironically was carrying JGR like Harvick is carrying SHR. That's interesting. Yeah. We got a super chat from someone who's a anti-Mike Joy. With all due respect, I'm not going to read that because we're not going to just slander Mike Joy in here. You can have constructive criticism, but we're not going to dunk on Mike Joy. Alex sent 5. Glad Zane got the 51, but let's be real, it'd be funny to see Michael Rooker become Rowdy Burns again. Honestly, though, the situation sucks.
Yeah.
We've already had one actor racing this year with Frankie Muniz. I don't know if we're going to get a second one.
he's almost the points leader in ARCA.
When's their next race? I'm actually curious to check that out.
We'll figure it out.
Jimmy Leos said, hi guys, this was a great race this past weekend. Breaking news, Chase Elliott is back at Martinsville and Smith will drive the 51. We're going to talk about all that here in the final hour of this show. Megatron, thanks to the 10. Since Kevin Harvick is retiring, I would like to formally invite him to join the Decepticons. Also, it wasn't Chastain's fault. It was Starscream's. Is that a Transformers?
It is.
It's 3 minutes. That's all I know.
I'm going to do just a few more, Jarrett, because I feel like we didn't get to that many. Crazy Creeper sent 2, really appreciate. Then sent another 5, said instead of racing on the streets of Chicago, NASCAR should go to Belle Isle in Detroit. I'm not.
That's a very famous IndyCar track. Yeah.
Palm Tree 82 said a few weeks ago we had more points than the 31. Now Haley has more points and more engagements than most of us YouTube trolling.
That is a fact. That
is funny. I'm going to do 3 more. Agent Boy Band said dirt race at Mansfield, please.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I don't know enough about the track. Could it realistically?
So it's actually, I believe it's closed and it's been closed for a while.
Oh, is it?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Bring it back, I guess. That's what Agent Boyband wants. Daniel Mead sent to the way to fix Texas for 2024, make it Texas dirt. Be a lot of unused real estate out there. They can maybe figure something out. And then it was Ross Chastain sent to and said, sorry that we didn't get to see a good finish, guys.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven.
We got a ton of super chats. I promise we'll get to them all at the end. I'm gonna pick out a couple more real quick because I saw David Bell sent 10, wishing everyone a great weekend. We all know David Bell's in a good mood after Christopher got the win this past week.
Absolutely.
And we got one from Need for Speed praising Ty Dillon for doing good on Sunday. Love that. And we'll get to this later as well. But Eric W said 12. He sent a $12 super chat. 12 is how many points the chat is currently behind Eric in our podcast picks.
Damn, so, they're doing the math. They keep up with the math. Okay.
Yeah, we will get to that later. Thank you all so much for the super chats. I promise we will get to the rest of them in the second half of this show, but we really appreciate your very generous support. Gentlemen, hold on, where are my notes? What is up next? Let's go and talk about Chase Elliott for a moment, because I was driving from Charlotte to, I'm currently in Raleigh, North Carolina, spoiler alert. I didn't see the official announcement, but I guess Chase Elliott's going to run Martinsville this weekend.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So the playoff waiver, did he get, has it been granted yet?
It's been granted. It was granted instantly. We all knew it was going to happen. If they're going to give Josh Williams a playoff waiver, then yeah, they're going to give Chase Elliott one.
How do you guys expect Chase Elliott to do? Because I can't imagine, and I didn't see any statements, so correct me if I'm wrong, I can't imagine he's like fully healed from a broken leg. So do you think he'll be okay? Martinsville is a physical track.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, this is a track to test out if he'll be good to go, right? So I think the worst case scenario is if he's not 100%, then have a standby driver ready to go. You'll still get the full points, full points day for starting the race. But from the looks of it, I don't think that's the case. He's had his time to rehab, and he's apparently been going to like one of the like top sports rehab facilities out there. I forget the name, but I mean, from what I've seen and stuff, I mean, it's like one of the top ones in the entire country. So, he's a quick healer, I guess. And yeah, he'll be back. And I think I'm not going to go as far as to say he's going to go on this like 2015 Kyle Busch season quite yet. I want to see where he's at after like 2 or 3 races. I think, look, just get your feet wet again, yeah, he is in Hendrick equipment. He is Chase Elliott champion. He is a great driver. I'm just going to say I'm just going to personally just take it slow on him for now, but we'll revisit after 2 or 3 races. But hey, who knows? Maybe he might just go out there and kick some ass and scores that first victory of the season. You never know, but I'm going to take it slow for now.
I'll admit I'm happy Chase Elliott is back. I hope he's recovered to a point that he can race comfortably and do well. But I'm slightly disappointed Josh Berry's not going to get a crack at Martinsville. Short track guy. He's done pretty well in that 9 car. I think it's safe to say.
And let's not forget about Josh Berry too, because like that was one of the greatest like replacement drives like I've ever seen in NASCAR. Really, I mean, to have a guy finish runner up and then consistently get top 10s is impressive. I know it's Hendrick Motorsports equipment, but still, like for anyone to come in last second and do that, I wasn't expecting that. And, props to him.
I think with Elliott, for me, I wouldn't expect too much until probably mid-May, because when you look at Kyle Busch when he came back, he had a bit of a getting back into the way things were running, and he struggled a little bit at first before he then went on his tear. But I expect by summer, Chase Elliott's going to be the Chase Elliott we know. Again, I don't know how healed he is or if he has enough pain meds in him to take down a bull elephant. I don't know how they're going about that, but if they think he's all right, if he's been cleared by doctors, I'm going to trust him with it. I will say I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's not dicing it up in the middle of the pack after like 20 laps at Talladega next week. I wouldn't blame him whatsoever. But I think he'll run pretty fast. Hendrick Motorsports been fast this year. He's generally a pretty good driver at any track we go to. And I mean, you kind of have a blueprint of how drivers done this before with Kyle Busch, and I think Chase Elliott, maybe, I don't know if he's at the level of 2015 Kyle Busch in general, but he's damn close, and I think he'll prove it.
We're gonna find out.
I think at this point, do what's best. If he doesn't feel like he can finish the race, bring it in. At this point, just getting some of the racing is better than not racing, getting no points at all. But but if he can't go all 500 laps, which is a lot to ask someone to do right after that, if you need to come in at 250, just come in. It ain't worth it.
Come in at the first stage break. If there's a competition caution, yeah, it's tough. You can't do it.
I would have Josh Berry there just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, a good point in the chat. It is 400 laps this weekend. I forgot about that.
400 laps.
I forgot
that's right.
that.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Sorry. Yeah,
well, still, that's still a lot of laps. If he can't go 400 laps, I say have Barry there just in case.
Thanks for reminding us, chat. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. Yeah, they changed it up. yeah, I agree.
Maybe this one's obvious, but I want to go and go yes or no down the line once again, starting with you, Jarrett. Does Chase Elliott make the playoffs?
Yes. Now, are we ask about the way I look at playoff waivers? I'm the same way I was in 2015 and every other time since.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of playoff waivers, but yeah, he'll make it. He'll make it in. No problem.
Yes, he'll make it. I don't know which race he wins. He'll win a race.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably gonna have to win a race. I don't think he points his way in at this point.
No, if he doesn't win a race, then no, he doesn't get in. But I think he'll win a race.
Yeah. Well, no, isn't it impossible for him to point his way in at this point?
It would be impossible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Virtually might be.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he does have to win. Yeah.
Well,
I can see him winning.
Well, let me look at the stands. He'd have to make up 140 points on Busher.
and even then, he's got to try to get a couple wins if possible. Because if in the off chance we have 16 winners or 17 winners,
because
it might not be enough.
We do have 7 different winners in the first 8 races. Pretty good amount of parity early on.
Oh no, make it past at least one more person in the points.
Oof, that's a good transition.
Yeah. Good transition.
That is a great transition. You're doing my job for me, Jarrett. I appreciate you. Cody Ware, that was the other big news this week. Cody Ware, full-time driver in the Cup Series, has been arrested and suspended by NASCAR. Now, he was arrested earlier this week on charges of felony assault on a female by strangulation. We really don't know any other.
There are no details. There are no details out yet.
So I really don't want to. I don't think
it's probably best that we don't know unless someone. There's another situation NASCAR, that person wanted to tell their story, but this one, if they don't want to say, they don't have to.
Yeah,
it's an ongoing process. Rick Ware Racing put out a statement saying that they're waiting for the process to play out. Cody Ware is cooperating with law enforcement and officials. They revealed today, I believe, that Zane Smith will drive the 51 at Martinsville. Not sure if he's a long-term solution or just a short-term one, but either way, bad stuff. Very disappointing news to hear out of Rick Ware Racing. I guess from my part, Cody Ware is not one of the most popular drivers, not one of the most accomplished drivers, but I do feel bad for the fans that he does have, who I think really related to how open he is on social media, how he always has been. I know he had an avid group of supporters, and I'm sure they're extremely disappointed and dejected by this news. So
I've known Cody for a while, even before I started doing YouTube. Honestly, before this, I had nothing bad to say about him. He'd always been nice to me. But now it's just
for sure. If these charges turn out to be true, if he's found responsible for all this, obviously not good at all.
Everything's just bit entirely out of shape now.
I'll say a few things here. First off, I think what has obviously these are very serious charges. First and foremost, though, innocent until proven guilty. Just everybody innocent until proven guilty, no matter what the situation is. Number 2, though, just the way this was handled, though, over the weekend. This left a bitter taste in a lot of NASCAR's fans' mouths, because when we heard okay, Cody Ware is not going to be racing this weekend due to a personal matter, I'm immediately thinking oh, it must be, some sort of mental health deal and stuff. Look, I've been there. Hopefully, wish him the best. But then to hear this, it's it was a total just slap in the face, punch in the gut. Because look, Cody Ware, I just did a video on him today. If you want to watch it afterwards, go over to Black Lives Matter after the podcast, of course. Yeah, I had to do it. Sorry. But I did a video on him today, just discussing his career from over the past few years in the Cup Series. While he was hated for the most part, just being one of these pay drivers and stuff like that at first, over time, as he started to open up about his mental health struggles and about, just some of his personal interests and stuff. I know, like, for a fact, when he said, like, oh, like, I'm really into anime and stuff, like, a bunch of NASCAR fans are like, oh, so am I, blah, blah, blah. So, like, that's why, like, I feel for them, man, because, like, they were a fan of his and stuff. They were rooting for him. I remember after he scored his first and only top 10 at Daytona, there was a bunch of support out there for him, like, oh, Cody Ware got a top 10, and now to hear this, it's very sad to hear. But again, I'll just point these 4 words out again: innocent until proven guilty. We don't know any more details right now, unfortunately, but these are very serious charges too. And also, what it says to me is that, okay, this whole incident took place April 3rd. Then they wait a few days and stuff, pretty much a week to make the announcement and stuff. Means that they must have they obviously investigated, didn't like what they saw and stuff, and charged him. So
when I heard them say it was a personal matter, my mind went a few different places there. And just to be honest, I know it's been documented that he's had issues with depression before. Mm-hmm. That's where my mind first started to go, and I was worried like something like that had come up. But then I also thought it was weird how the team replaced his name on the car. And here lately, when there's been something like that, we've seen teams keep the name of the driver on the car, like with Kurt Busch, like with Alex Bowman, like Chase Elliott.
Yeah,
they didn't do that. They immediately replaced Crafton. That was kind of a red flag.
Yeah, I should have seen that as a red flag.
And especially since his dad is the car owner, that was a huge red flag.
Yeah,
exactly. I think all I'll say is this. I agree with the sentiment, innocent to proven guilty. You remember what happened with Eddie DeHaan? The internet went after him.
Yeah.
And then it was proven in court that something didn't happen. I'm just saying that I'm not going to go and bash his character yet. But if he did that, he should not be allowed to race again.
Oh yeah,
I agree. I think clear as day that should be the case. But yeah, I'm not going to go and speculate on what happened just because it is really serious. And if he did end up doing that, that's just there's a lot of problems there on many levels.
And also too, just one final thing too. His brother Carson had a similar incident a couple years ago. So there's it's unfortunate, but there is a pattern with the Ware family and having this sort of incident, unfortunately.
And even if NASCAR says down the line, okay, Cody, complete your road to recovery or whatever they need to do. I don't think it would happen, but if they did that, it's going to be hard for fans to have any kind of good feeling about them.
Yeah.
And sponsors. Sponsorship.
Yeah, and sponsors.
So but no, I don't want to speculate too much until we learn more about it. If anything is made public or leaked or whatever.
I agree.
I kind of agree with what John Irby says in the chat. Kind of reminds me of Spencer Gallagher, had a promising career, won an Xfinity race, but drug incident got him permanently suspended and never came back from that.
Yeah. Totally different situation, of course, but
it's still separate legal matters.
Exactly. And obviously it's not like Cody Ware was setting the world on fire, but he was starting to build up a bit of a fan base and stuff that really rooted for him in more ways than one, and he's let him down as of right now. So
one thing we can speculate on though, how do you guys think Zane Smith will do this weekend?
Better than Cody.
Yeah, better than Cody has. That's for sure.
He's still driving a Rick Ware car, so
yeah, I don't expect him to set the world on fire. But if he happens to maybe run like top 15 in that ride somehow, that'd be very impressive for Zane Smith. I don't know how he would do it, but if he does, then we'll
Superhuman
see.
Zane Smith.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Top 15?
Yeah.
Let's be let's be a little bit generous. Let's say top 25.
All right, fine. Top 25.
That man runs top 15. Like he should be taking over 2005 Roush at the moment. Like that's right. How well he should be promoted. Yeah. He should be taken back in time to a better time in Ford's history.
Hey, JJ Yaley ran top 20 in a Rick Ware car just 1 week ago. So Rick Ware racing's not that bad.
Yeah.
Are we going to Dirt Martinsville?
He started third, so they don't qualify that bad either, right?
Yeah, damn. They was going to championship 4.
Yeah, continue.
Let's talk a little about Denny Hamlin. This is a big topic. I like how I just said, let's talk about Denny Hamlin. Yeah, Denny Hamlin himself is a big topic. But On his podcast this week, he enlightened us listeners with a few little details. One, that we all kind of assumed that other team owners were not happy when Garage 56 and that Hendrick Motorsports partnership was announced. Completely believe that. He also talked about the boycott last week. The owners
wasn't a
did not
boycott.
show up to it.
It wasn't a
Yeah,
boycott.
well, he would. I put the quotes around it because Denny Hamlin did not want to call it a boycott for some reason. I don't know why. It's like a buzzword or something. Because
What was
that's
it?
what it was.
What
That's
was
exactly
it
what
then?
it was. The team, he even said the team owners all talked beforehand and said, "Hey, we're not going to show up." And like he's like, "Oh well, we didn't."
So it's
we
a
didn't
protest.
we didn't force the other teams to not show up, but everyone ultimately was on the same
Bro,
page.
that's a boycott, bro. That's still a
Yeah.
boycott. Y'all
No,
boycotted.
no, they collectively agreed not to show up in protest of the. Oh, that sounds like a boycott.
Like, what the heck are you doing?
So-
What are we talking about?
Well, he's also figured out he can't just say words that
Yeah.
could get him in trouble.
Yeah, that happened once before. We don't need that.
What are they
anymore.
gonna do? Take his? Oh, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the most interesting part of his that segment of the podcast this week was when he kind of suggested that like he feels like NASCAR's out to get him, and he feels like they could take his charter out of
Well,
spite.
wait.
Did you hear that part?
Wait, hold on. He says NASCAR's out to get him, right?
It was kind of speculative, but he was sort of like, "Hey," he
Well,
kind of basically said, "Hey,
I mean-
NASCAR's clearly shown that they're out to get me sometimes. So what if they take my charter?" You know,
That doesn't surprise me. You keep running your damn mouth.
it came off as a little paranoid, but here's the thing I will
You
say.
did it to yourself, bro.
I think Hamlin's point in favor of the charter system is a valid one. His whole point was you can't, like, the charter system needs to become permanent because if there's any chance that NASCAR could one day just take these charters away, then good luck getting any other outside investors to buy into teams or start race teams. Like I think a lot of investors, if they're going to pour millions into a cup program, they need that security blanket that the current charter system seems to provide. So that's the disagreement. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into this because we still have more politics to get to here at the end of the show. But
Yeah.
I mean, how do you guys feel? Do you feel good about where the charter agreement,
So-
or I should say the revenue distribution agreement between teams and NASCAR? Do you feel good about where the negotiations are right now?
So he did say that he and the teams feel like after finding out that stuff, they feel further away now from NASCAR than they previously did and have and had felt for a while. They thought it was coming together. I will kind of admit it kind of reminds me of when they announced the stuff with the street race and how the people in Chicago didn't know what the hell was going on with people talking to NASCAR. Kind of shady behind the scenes stuff. My deal is that this is going to come to a head. There's no way that the teams are going to waver on this. They can't. The charters are too, like we talked about it last week, the charters are too intertwined in the way that teams run now and in the money process of everything. And there's no way, I mean, they're costing $20 million a charter. If NASCAR were to buy them back, unless they just say they're null and void, at that point, then you have even worse problems. If they were to buy them back, they would have to be spending a total of $720 million to do that. Money that, yes, NASCAR has a lot of, but they would probably have major cuts be made. So my question is, what happens when this reaches ahead? And to me, the catalyst of it reaching ahead is, especially if the rumors are true about a 40% increase in TV revenue, that revenue split and how NASCAR views it and Jim France views it with the charters and taking those away and how much money they get with that versus the teams wanting the charters and probably the same revenue split that they would agree on, now wanting it changed if the charters are gone. I think that's where it comes to a head. And the fact that we haven't heard any news so far is, honestly, it's kind of weird compared to the last time. The last contract, the current one we're on right now, that started in 2015, negotiation started summer of 2012 on that and was signed like by, I think, the end of 2013, like fully. Like they even adjusted the contract a little bit so Fox could have a couple more races and fit with NBC better. Like that's what they had with the last one. Or this one, you're not really hearing anything, and the only thing you can really do is speculate off the moves of the network. So I feel like you're having a lot of stuff happen in a very short amount of time. If this gets prolonged into the summer, you basically have a year and a half, if not a year, to figure out how to resolve this thing, which could easily happen. It's just I think it's already very ugly at this point, and I think it's going to get more ugly.
I mean, Denny Hamlin did say on his podcast that the teams, at least from their perspective, feel like time is starting to run out, or it's, deadlines are sneaking up quicker than maybe NASCAR seems to realize or is comfortable with. So, yeah, I don't have much else to echo other than, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. I think you would like these negotiations to be further along than they are, but I'm not ready to. People in the chat are saying split, and
it's too early.
I don't know what that would look like.
So,
the Race Team Alliance has already suggested starting their own series.
But I'll say this about people's split talks, because I think at this point, hearing more what the teams are saying, and you compare it to the way that the open wheel split was, there are similarities. Of course, you can find similarities in anything. I think the difference here is, like, people are talking about the Cars Tour being that avenue out, but look who bought up the Cars Tour. People who are aligned with NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is aligned with NASCAR and NBC. Jeff Burton is definitely aligned with NASCAR. Kevin Harvick just signed with Fox, a partner of NASCAR. Justin Marks, probably one of the most pro NASCAR owners who win. Remember Talladega last year? Everyone's like, Denny Hamlin's leading this charge of owners being upset with NASCAR. It was Trackhouse and Justin Marks who were the outliers saying that they were going overboard with. So I get that people should be rightfully worried that these are grounds we have not been on with NASCAR probably ever, but I don't want to sound the alarm bells like on all fronts until we hear a little bit more. I mean, the fact we're having this conversation it speaks volumes, and the fact that they will probably put on exhibition races is a big statement. I think you can't really talk or speculate too much on it until you know what kind of money is being played with the new contract. I mean, they're talking in the chat. June, let's see, it said July 23rd, 2013 is what a lot of people are saying. I saw in the chat of when it was signed. So if it's based on the last contract, if we should know by July. And at that point, I mean, that's less than a year and a half.
Yeah.
Until 25.
So if we don't hear anything by July, should we start getting like a little worried then? Like, hey, what's going on here? Like,
I mean, I think questions should be asked about it. Yeah. I don't know how many will be answered, but I think they should be asked and at least inquired on by people.
Because we're starting to cut it. We're starting to cut it a little close, aren't we? As far as the TV contract, the current contract running up.
It could still be on time. It's weird not hearing anything about it.
Yeah, because we usually have in years past. We usually have, Yeah. But yeah, it's totally different. Please no 10-year deals though. Let's just, shorter deals maybe. But we'll see.
Well, to continue kind of with some off-track NASCAR drama, but a little different. Hendrick Motorsports was penalized again since we last did an episode of our show. This penalty was announced before Bristol Dirt. I think it was last Thursday.
Yeah.
William Byron and Alex Bowman's team were each penalized 60 driver owners points, 5 playoff points, and were fined, I think, was it $75,000 each. And the team already said they will not appeal. They said that their effort is better spent preparing for other races. They said that whatever issue with the greenhouse that NASCAR found did not affect their performance. But it's clear NASCAR, after Hendrick won their appeal, despite being found guilty 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were seeking any reason to ding Hendrick Motorsports again. They took 2 of their cars back to the R&D center.
Now also really quick note. They're supposed to be 2 random cars, and they randomly
they took the random part out of the rule book from what Bob was saying, because now they won't, sometimes they won't even take cars to the R&D center anymore.
Gotcha.
The word random is used very loosely here. It's like, we're taking you at random. Come on.
Okay.
It's like airport security random.
One other note, I think Bob Pockers was the first to report this, but NASCAR will begin displaying confiscated illegal parts at the racetrack for all the teams and fans to see.
And that's good to see. That's good to see.
They used to do that actually with the crew members back in the 70s and 80s. I think they used to do that a long time ago.
Because I think it's fair that people know what not to do.
Yeah, don't do this. And also, here's this cheater's work on full display.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hire Ryan Priest to stand there with it all weekend. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
And then is NASCAR gonna hire like somebody to stand beside the illegal parts and say like shame, 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 shame.
Just if you're suspended, you still get to come to the track, but you have to sit there with a dunce hat on your head the whole weekend.
And then some random guy just saying shame, shame, shame on you.
I'll say I think that is something good to put out there. It's if done right and they show the teams what was wrong with it, transparency. That's what we've been asking for.
That's what we've been asking for.
And so I think that would be the right move in sending a message. I think from this point on, I will say this, and I don't mean this jokingly either. Can we stop, at least when it comes to the NASCAR fan base, and saying that NASCAR will do anything to make sure Hendrick Motorsports is favored? Like, obviously, this I would say this proved they're not. Like, they're never going to come out and say we purposely did this or we're looking for anything, but it's pretty damn clear they were. They changed the rule book.
appeals panel?
Was the appeals panel what?
Was they a little favoritism there?
You could bring that up. Like, I would have to do more research into the connections for each of them. But I did see some people questioning those connections to Hendrick Motorsports. So I don't want to speak too much on it till I know for sure. But that part was interesting. I would just say another thing too is, do you think there's at this point only 2 months away? You think NASCAR is maybe rethinking a little bit, partnering with Hendrick Motorsports for Garage 56 after all this? It kind of makes it a little awkward.
Yeah, like I had completely forgotten about that. I'm like, oh yeah, like they've been doing this. Oh, there, little TV thing there for Jared, from Jared's camera. But no, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They are working on this like major product together and stuff. Is there like any sort of tension with building up with that now? Or?
Well, it's like when you're in school and the teacher scolds you in front of the class, like, how could 2 + 2 is not 3? How did you get that wrong? Like, are you serious? Like, because I've had teachers do that, and then afterwards, they're like, you did really good on this assignment. Hey, yeah, screw you too. I'm not even gonna let my camera work.
Yeah, but yeah, no, very interesting, very interesting. Yeah. Oh,
I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it.
All right.
Well, speaking of
enjoy the rainbow sights of Jarrett.
It's Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Speaking of transparency, NASCAR also modified the rule book. One, now if appeals panel finds the team or whoever guilty, they can't fully rescind part of the penalty. They have to, if they modify it, they can only modify it within the ranges in the rule book. So that would make impossible what happened to Hendrick, where they got all their points given back. That would no longer be possible. But they also said that NASCAR has now the right to publish the appeals panel's decision. So both rules that I think it would have been nice if they were in place before the Hendrick Motorsports Louver debacle and the Colleague Louver debacle. But I don't love changing the rule book mid-season, but I do actually like these rule changes, so I'm kind of torn. But
this is one of the rare ones I'm all for this type of rule change. You know, we want more transparency. We're finally going to get it. So I like it.
Not to change topics, but the chat's saying the Tampa Bay Rays won again. They are
12-0 now? Damn.
That's a team that I heard was rumored to want to just move to Nashville recently.
Yeah.
They've been trying to move that team for like several years now.
And they're really great, right? Weren't they just in the World Series?
A few years ago they were,
Yeah. That's cool.
They've
That's what's up.
been good more times than not lately, but 12-0 in baseball, that is ridiculous.
Nice. Now, do we have any 0-12 teams in baseball or no?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh man. I like to see the
how's your team doing, Eric?
They've gone off to kind of a slow start, but Jose Altuve broke his finger in the World Baseball Classic, so I'm gonna wait until.
Oh well, that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for Jose to come back before I get up in arms.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, Jared. Good to see you again.
Yeah, I came back to let you know the Cubs are 6-5, so we're over 500. Yeah.
Oh, mediocrity. Hey,
it's better than sucking like the last couple of years.
I'll take it.
But anyway,
I got tickets to go see the Cubs when during the Chicago Street Week. So
who'd they play?
I'm excited for that. Oh, I want to say maybe it was Cleveland.
Yeah, I like how those series end out.
We went and saw them play the Red Sox when we were there for Road America last year.
That's
right. Also, really quick, Jared, good news. The 40 and 42 Bulls are currently tied in the playing game. Yay.
Yeah.
The 9th and 10th place games.
Hang the banner.
Oh, man.
We need to have a
All right, let's go.
compilation. We need to have a compilation of every time on this show I say "hang the banner."
Hang the banner. Yeah, you said it so many times.
We also just need to have a compilation every time we talk about other sports, like maybe the Tennessee Titans involve you guys with your other teams.
But you know what? You know what, though? We've talked about a lot of NASCAR, though, but let's get back into it.
Yeah, we'll add that to the clips channel later.
Yeah. We'll add to the
We'll
clips
bring
show
it back.
for sure. But we got a race this weekend, Eric. We got a race this weekend?
We have three races this weekend. Martinsville Speedway, the paperclip. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. The truck race is up first. I believe the trucks are on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Long John Silver's 200 laps, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on FS1 and MRN. There's a 55% chance of rain. There are some evening thunderstorms, but hopefully, rain tires are in trucks as well, right? If we actually need them.
I think so.
All right.
They might end up using them.
The Xfinity race is on Saturday. That is the call811.com before you dig 250. I swear, call 811 sponsors every Xfinity race.
It feels like it.
250 laps. That is 7:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and MRN Saturday night. Warm and sunny, only a 25% chance of rain, so that's looking a little better. Cup race is the NOCO 400. I don't know what NOCO is, but I hope to find out this weekend.
NOCO was on Alex Bowman's car for a while in 2020. It's like
it was one of the Chevy partners.
Yeah.
Didn't he win at Auto Club with that?
No, he won.
No, that was the
with,
Cincinnati
Cincinnati
one.
Tools.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
They all
one.
blur.
Yeah.
All these blur together at this point.
I remember that race because me and Eric, we were there right before the pandemic.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
times. Good times. Good times.
Beginning of the end.
Yeah.
The NOCO 400 is 400 laps, starts 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1 MRN. So it is on FS1 this week, Sunday afternoon, Fox Sports 1. It's a warm day, 78 degrees, so very different from last year. It was very cold this weekend last year. But there is currently an 88% chance of rain on Sunday, so fingers crossed that goes down at least a little bit.
Yeah.
All I know is Bristol Dirt had bad forecasts coming into the weekend and things cleared up by race time. So fingers crossed. I didn't mention the defending winners. I apologize. The truck race defending winner is William Byron. I haven't even looked. Is he on the entry list this week?
No. But someone else
Brandon
is.
Jones. Brandon Jones won the Xfinity race last year, and Byron also won the Cup race last spring as well. So Darian, before we get into our picks, who is Las Vegas? Who are the betting odds?
And also don't forget last spring we had a little 1-2 piece action. Hopefully we see that again. I'd love to see that again. Awesome. Different drivers this time, of course. Anyways, now to the famous betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. William Byron and Kyle, actually we have a three-way tie in terms of the this weekend's race favorites. William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell all entered this weekend at plus 650 to win. Denny Hamlin plus 700 and Martin Truex Jr. plus 850. As for the best of the rest, Joey Logano plus 900, Ryan Blaney plus 1100, Kyle Busch plus 1400, Ross Chastain plus 1600, and finally Kevin Harvick plus 2000. As for the famous underdogs, Chase Briscoe and Daniel Suarez both plus 4,000. Bubba Wallace plus 5,000. He's pretty good here when he has the right setup and mindset. Ty Gibbs plus 6,000. And this is my personal favorite because after Ty Gibbs, it just tapers off entirely. So you have the guys who are 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. And I picked Todd Gilliland at plus 40,000 because he's on a roll, top 15 finishes here or there. You never know. It's Martinsville. A few things could go his way. And but he's plus 40,000 to win. So if you want to bet some money,
crazy.
Yeah, those are some pretty crazy odds. I mean, look, I don't think Todd Gilliland's going to win personally, but damn, just to put him at plus 40,000 though, that seems a bit much, right?
Disrespect.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, though,
didn't he qualify 9th last year in this race?
Yeah. So hey, take advantage of the odds makers. They obviously don't watch racing like that. It's clear as day. And really quick, so we're gonna so moving on to the other fantasy league, the NWP fantasy league. Let's go over the top 5. Eric, you're gonna love this first name. Right now in P1 is Kansas Legacy 2. He has just a 1-point lead over 48 Nation. And third is Recce Spinhouse, and fourth is Danny B. Wife. And rounding out the top 5 is Sean Hilkowitz. I think I said that last name right. I think I said it right.
Pretty disappointed to see Danny BY fall down a little bit.
And you know what? Hey, I'm only 3 points outside the top 5 in P6. All good, all good. Still in the hunt. So not a bad start. And now moving on to the NWP Fantasy League 2, the second fantasy league. My personal favorite name. Oh no, we suck again. Blaney's Pit Crew, currently P1. In P2 is Race Roar 48. P3 is Black Flags Matter. P4 is Common Chase L E Ut. And there's a space there, so that the L capitalized and stuff. I see what you did there. And finally, rounding out the top 5 is JC_43. All right. Thank you guys for playing, and let's continue to play for the rest of the season.
Can we just skip this next section this week?
Why would you want to skip it?
Well, I had like a 20-something point lead, and then I picked Daniel Suarez, who led 60 laps at Bristol Dirt last year, 50 the year before that. I don't think he sniffed the top 20 once Sunday.
Bro, you sound like a spoiled brat though. Like, I don't want to do this segment, kids. I'm in the points lead, but fine. Not as much.
I demand perfection from myself. I can't believe the chat picked the winner this week. But that being said, I'm still leading our NWP pick points with 157. Chat is now minus 12. Jarrett is 33 back. Danny minus 45. Darian minus 46.
Hey, Danny's just squatting.
Do you realize how close I am to being basement boy right now?
He's squatting over me a little bit. Hey, bro, I'm coming. I'm coming back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I still love that I look like a Simpsons character on that graphic.
That's funny. I just love my reaction. I'm just so happy to just being in last for most of the season. Like, hey, yeah, it's all good. It's all good still. But yeah, no, this has been fun.
Chance to gain or lose a ton of points with 3 races at Martinsville this weekend. So, gentlemen, I guess let's begin with the Truck Series race Friday night. I'll lead things off. I'm going with a lot of heavy favorites tonight. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm a little snake bit after last week. So Zane Smith is my Truck Series pick.
Wait. Oh, well, that's a good pick, but I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch on this one.
What?
I'm following Jarrett. I'm going with Kyle Busch.
Eric, are you sure? Okay, I'm going with Kyle Busch as well. Kyle Busch.
This is a truck race, not an Xfinity race.
If you're just giving us free points.
Hey, chat, take the free points, man. Take the free points, everybody.
I think Zane Smith. I just think that 38 truck is so much.
They're going with Kyle Busch. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
I think the 38 truck is better than the 51.
Hey, Eric, bro. Hey, don't get too confident now. Just hey. Don't be in my position. You'll be in the basement if you get too confident.
I think it's a 50-50 call between the two of them. Zane's won how many? He's won 2 races already this year?
No, he's not a bum. He's not a bum. He's not a bum.
I think it's more like a 51-38 percentage.
All right, but no, Chad's going with Kyle Busch. And of course, somebody brought back T-Pain, bringing back to the old days. All right, now moving on.
The next up is the Xfinity Series race. Let's see. I was looking for my notes. I have too many windows open. My pick to win the Xfinity race is Chandler Smith.
Chandler.
All right. Well,
the floodgates are open. That's what I believe.
Well, I told these guys before the show I was going to kind of go a little out there for my Xfinity pick. This guy has run top 5 at Martinsville numerous times, been up front in contention to win the race. He's better this year than he was last year. Riley Herbst is going to get his first win this weekend.
I like it.
You were thinking bold. I'm going with what the chat is looking like. It looks like they're all going with Josh Berry. I'm also going with Josh Berry for this one.
And you know what, Danny and chat, I agree with y'all 100%. Josh Berry scores the victory, but I do like the Riley Herbst pick. I do like that.
On the edge. I can see it.
And yeah, the chat shocked. Looks like 8. They're going with 8. It looks like
we've all got a chance to catch up on you said Kyle. Like, we got a chance to catch up on Eric here.
Yeah, the Kyle Busch consensus pick didn't shock me from the chat. I thought there'd be a few more Zane Smiths. I think they're right. I think it's close, but I'm shocked that they're also bought into Josh Berry. I mean, he's great here, no doubt, but I'm surprised that he is the runaway favorite. So let's see if their cup picks are just as popular or just as consistent. Starting with the suck pick, who's going to suck in the Cup race Sunday at Martinsville? I'm like the host, but then I also have to go first because of the order. My suck pick, I don't feel great about Joe Gibbs Racing. I just feel like well, no, that's not entirely true. I think Christopher Bell's going to be good.
Yeah, we were just talking about Bell.
I know, but Truex, I was going to go with Truex. Spoiler. I just feel like Truex, for some reason, last year did not run well at tracks he's typically good at. And we haven't seen a strong enough sample size yet this year, but I just have a feeling he's going to run like 12th. And I don't know. I expect more. I expect more from Truex.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with the easy pick and the one that the chat seems to forget they can't pick, Eric Almirola.
I hated to see him run so bad this weekend. And Eric even went and visited them today, but I got to go with Brad Keselowski on this one.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. How was that visit, by the way, Eric? It looked like you had a lot of fun. Okay.
It was fun. Appreciate RFK showing me around. I got to sit in on pit stop practice today, which is kind of unique. And I found out that, and you saw in that Twitter video that they have an 05 or 06, it's an 06, I think, Kenseth car on display. But I didn't realize they had a sign up this time that didn't used to be there, that the chassis of that car was used for several years, including for Kenseth's one and only 2003 season win at Las Vegas.
Nice.
So I was like, that is historic. That is really cool.
Yeah, the win that basically broke the system as we know it. Yeah, pretty much. My who's gonna suck pick, pretty obvious one, Harrison Burton. I mean, don't really expect him to do much, and it's Martinsville. I mean, he's won there in the past, but lately he hasn't done a whole lot.
Are we expecting his weekly spin to come back?
I expect 2 to 3 spins. There you go.
And the chat is going with Ty Dillon.
Yeah. Oh, damn! They found a new one. They found the new guy. All right.
That's their backup.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know what their underdog pick's going to be. I got a feeling.
We said they couldn't do that one either.
Oh, well, no. I was thinking of another driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're ready for underdog picks for the Cup Series race. No, this guy's not an underdog. I was going to say Ryan Blaney, but he's not an underdog.
Nah.
But I just feel like he's due to get the finish he deserves finally. So I'm not going to say Blaney. I'm going to go Bubba Wallace instead.
How has Blaney usually run at Martinsville?
He's decent. I mean, he's decent. I mean, he's never won there.
But I'm going Bubba Wallace. He's won it. He's won there in trucks before. They just haven't really had anything go their way, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, whether it's been mistakes by the driver, mistakes by the pit crew. There's been a fair share of both. But I think this week things turn around. He runs top 10 at the very least.
Well, I'm going to go with somebody we talked about earlier, long odds, but I think he can probably get a top 10, 15. He's in the 38, right? I don't understand why Todd Gilliland is not above a 10,000 odd. So I'm going to go Todd Gilliland on this one. I think he'll have a solid run, and front row right now seems to be in that top 15 to 18 range. So I'm going with them.
Well, you might have debated on your Blaney pick, but I'm not going to debate on this one. Just coming back after what's happened, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. And if he can make it the whole race, if he could even get a top 15, I say that's a win in his books.
We're getting a taste of what this show would have been like in 2016 in his rookie year.
I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace. Yeah, I mean, just when he's on here. 2021 really stands out. The first year of that team, he was leading their first laps ever. So yeah, I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace this weekend. And it looks like the chat. Oh,
I'm seeing a lot for Todd, actually.
Yeah,
I give it Todd.
Yeah. I thought they were going to go with Bubba for this one, but no, they're going to go with Todd. Nice. Cool. All right. And now for the main event of the evening. Who's going to win? And who's going to win at Martinsville? Eric?
I'm always glad you say it the second time because we never hear it the first time.
Oh, damn. Yeah, well.
Oh, man, I was so split on this one. Like I said at the beginning, I was trying to pick mostly heavy favorites to win this weekend. I'm playing it really safe. So that's why I almost put him as my underdog as a consolation prize. But I like Ryan Blaney a lot this weekend. I think Blaney has a great shot at winning, but he hasn't won a points race in like a year and a half or something. So I can't pick Blaney. I'm going to go with the safer bet. Willie B gets Rudy Fugle back this weekend. I'll go William Byron.
I think that's a really good pick, but I'm going to pick somebody who needs a bit of redemption after this race last year. He was atrocious in this race last year, and then he ran really well. Coming off turn 4, he was qualified in the final 4 until the last 800 feet. I'm going to go Denny on this one. I think Denny Hamlin's going to get a win in one of the Virginia races.
Side note, how many times is Fox going to shove that down our throat this weekend?
Oh, a lot.
All the time.
Yeah, the entire weekend.
I like that pick. I'm actually going to say 2 in a row, both in terms of Martinsville and 2 in a row in weeks. I'm going to say Christopher Bell wins at Martinsville again. He had a very good run there in the fall, and right now he's hot and he's going.
Yeah, that dirt guy is certainly on a roll. I'm going to go with the other dirt guy who had a bit of a controversial weekend last week with the 41. Kyle Larson gets his second victory of the season.
All right. Chat seemed to be going, I thought Byron, but then I looked away for a while, so I don't know if
it's a lot of people at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty split.
All right. Tell me who I should put in the poll.
Byron.
Saying 24 some.
24.
Bell.
Yeah, Bell.
Or some for Bell.
I see a few 48s and some 12s. I don't know if it's enough.
Put a 12 in there.
I haven't seen enough 48. I've just seen, well, no, there's a bunch of them now. There's like 3 in a row for 48.
Yeah, they're from a few different people. Yeah.
Yeah, I would put 48 in there.
Yeah. It's so spread out, chat. We're doing the best we can. trying to determine.
And then there's another person just saying Bowman. So Bowman's definitely a favorite right now.
Yeah. All right. But it's up. It's up.
We'll let that sit for a few minutes. I'm going to do the final. I'm going to read through the final super chats here in just a moment. But before I do that, next week, April 19th, we'll be back Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be on Darian's channel, Black Flags Matter on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't for some reason already. We'll be talking about Martinsville and a whole lot more. So be sure to tune in next week, same time, slightly different place, but it'll be your same Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
The Quartet
podcast. The Quartet. Yes. The Quartet weekly podcast on BFM next weekend. Next week.
Bailey sent another super chat earlier tonight. Said, "Can Larson stop walling guys? 5th time in the last year he's done this. It's getting annoying." He has a few times. I think Hamlin also said on his podcast that that's just something Larson does.
Yeah, that's his thing.
A lot of people don't like it, and I don't blame them. I Like to race says the guy should rent out a karting track and see who the fastest driver is. We should.
I'm down for that.
I'd absolutely be down for that one of these days. We have go-kart against each other a handful of times, but we've never documented it.
We're pretty even. I've noticed, we're all pretty even.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, or like once like the time at Coda, where me and Darian got there a day early and we raced against professional go-kart racers, and we actually stayed in the pack with them. We're like,
yeah,
wow, we're actually kind of good at this.
No. Because one of them came up, they were like, "Hey, how long have you been karting for?" Like, "Oh, I don't kart. I'm just here." Like, "Oh, really?" Like, yeah. Like, they were just shocked. They were like, we were like staying with them. And there was like a freaking wet spot too, I think.
No, that was before the wet spot. Because once they put the wet spot in, we all kept running into each other.
Yeah, like, why did they do that? They were being douchebags, man. They had to have been. They just wanted to mess with us. But no,
J Card sent 5 earlier and said Bristol Dirt must stay. There isn't Bristol Dirt must stay. There isn't any race events prior to the Cup weekend. Late models, modifieds, hobby stocks, etc. I guess they're saying that there should be more like events leading up to Saturday and Sunday. I guess is what they're saying. Which
there
are other series that race at Bristol Dirt, but I guess it's not typically the days leading up to the.
No, it's usually like afterwards and stuff, and then they like get rid of the dirt like by the summertime.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be absolutely down for other shows leading up.
I agree.
Joseph Knuckles, thanks for the 5. Tyler leads a bunch of laps because of staying out. Bell leads and wins because of staying out. How is that good racing? Okay, well, I mean, there was a good couple of slingshots for the lead. Reddick.
Well, yeah.
Reddick lost the lead on old tires in stage 2 and ended up driving back up and passing. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head. It might have been Kyle Busch. No, I don't know.
And there was a pretty good battle. I mean, it was a pretty good battle for the lead up until that caution came out, up until those final 2 cautions came out. Like, we were really set to have like one of the greatest finishes in Bristol history, I thought. That's what it was looking like.
Exactly. Reddick was running down Bell and was going to have
Yeah.
shot.
I think Bell would have won either way. That was my opinion on it.
Probably, but it was definitely interesting. I thought it was very good race.
But hey, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get it.
8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon. How much longer do we have to put up with the Phoenix finale? What should replace it?
Homestead. Just bring Homestead back.
Yeah, Homestead's the easiest pick.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, it would be Atlanta, but not this current Atlanta. No, the old one.
They asked another question. I don't know if y'all saw on Dirty Mo Live, but they did a vote between Indy Road Course, Clash the Coliseum, Bristol Dirt, and Chicago Street. One has to go. Which would you pick?
Oh,
This one seems so easy.
Say those again.
say it again.
Indy Road, Clash, Coliseum, Bristol Dirt, Chicago Street Course.
If I had to get rid of one.
Indy Road.
Yeah.
Indy Road. I hate to say it.
I vouched for Indy Road because I wanted to see how it'd turn out. It wasn't as good as I thought it'd be. I'll openly admit that, and I think it'd be better for ratings. And listen, I'm gonna try and be an open book when it comes to Chicago. It hasn't been run yet.
Yeah,
I actually
it seems unfair.
Actually, crazy thing, and it kind of is changing the way I perceive the Chicago stuff now a little bit because I now have firsthand account of it. I actually have a friend of mine. She lives in Chicago. Never been to a NASCAR race. Never watched one. Went to high school with her, and like she's looking at going for the full weekend with her friends. And I was like, "Damn, okay." That's actually surprising. I'm still not saying it's a diehard, and I don't know if it's going to be the greatest race ever by any means, but I mean it. At least anecdotally, it's getting its goal in that aspect.
Yeah, I'll go with the Indy Road Course as well. Just simply the Chicago Street Course. We haven't ran a race yet, so it's not fair to judge that yet. Bring back the Indy Oval. Bring back the Oval.
Whether it was the curb in 21 or turn 1 hell in 22, the Indy Road has just not caught a break, and you could easily just put it back on the Oval.
Yeah.
Still get that market and probably better ratings.
And we were there for the first one, and oh my gosh, that was
we got on the TV for that one.
Yeah.
I had fun. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I'd go back.
We were there for the most entertaining rendition, I feel like.
Yeah. I still have a hat I bought to commemorate the event.
I'd go back in a heartbeat.
It's a longer drive than that, but yeah.
Okay, I'd go back in 4.5 hours.
It's nothing. I think this means weird question. You're a team owner of 4 cars. Your goal, get all 4 drivers in the final 4. Choose any 4 drivers in their prime from any era.
Oh, Jesus.
Damn. Okay.
Wait. Do I get to have can I get their crew chiefs with them?
Sure.
Okay. I want Jimmy Johnson in his 5-time, Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt. And I'm going to throw one out there too. I know people are thinking I'm going with the King. But I'm going to go with David Pearson because Pearson could be an inferior equipment and beat the King who had better equipment at the time.
I'll go with Richard Petty. Prime Richard Petty, prime David Pearson, prime Dale Earnhardt, prime Jimmy Johnson. There you go.
No Jeff.
I go.
Yeah, I'll go different here. Yeah. I'll go Jimmy Johnson.
You know what? Give me prime Jimmy Johnson. Give me prime Jeff Gordon. Give me prime Dale Earnhardt. And also give me prime Rusty Wallace.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was pretty good.
You give me prime Rusty Wallace. I like that one.
I mean, he was the one who was winning all those races against Earnhardt in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's going to be recency bias here, but I would want some people who've run in the playoff era, that format. But that being said, I'd take Jeff Gordon and Evernham, Jimmy and Chad. I would take prime Kevin Harvick with Rodney Childers. And I would consider the current Logano-Paul Wolfe combo. He makes the championship 4 every other year. So I feel like my odds are decent with those 4.
So you're banking on this being an even number year.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I guess that's true. That is true. I'll take it. If he gets me in there 50%, I'll take those odds. Ross Crashdane, welcome back, Chase Elliott and friends. Okay.
Okay.
Marky Mark, get those rain tires ready at Martinsville. Howdy, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Howdy, Marky Mark.
Yes, sir.
Hope we don't need too many rain tires. Nigel sent 2 and just said Christopher Bell in all caps. Got my attention.
Yeah.
8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon says hot take: reverse the course direction for the Indy Road Course or Coda, so you don't have 40 cars vying into one line for turn 1. And then says, is there any reason why that's not been done or suggested? I guess
know.
tradition, maybe.
I
I
feel
don't.
like you'd still have the similar problem at Coda at the other
Yeah,
end.
you would. You would.
Except
Maybe not quite as bad, but very similar.
you'd be closer to the wall.
Yeah. Could be worse.
Indy, at least on both ends of Indy, you have the runoff, as Ross Chastain so eloquently showed us.
Shorty PJM sent 5. Yay for Chase. Hope this makes HMS grow a spine and stop effing over Alex. Put some clown emojis. It's like they can't stand a non-5 and 9 at number 1. I blame them.
Whoa.
Oh my God. I'm getting flashbacks to junior fans talking about Jimmy and Gordon.
They're infighting. The Hendrick Motorsports fans are fighting amongst themselves.
For real. They be fighting all the time, bro. But yeah, that does sound like the good old days.
8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon has been very generous tonight, but has been asking a lot of very big questions. Let's do our best to answer them. This one, pretend plate tracks don't exist. Sell me a different season opener. And their vote is a road course.
Can't be a road course. Not because
Yeah.
you need a rating to kick off no matter what, even if it's not Daytona. So it can't be a road course or a short track, because those don't bring in ratings either. So what market or track would give you a punch immediately? It's not a super. Well, what? Okay, is it not super speedways? Short track. Is it not super speedways, or is it not restrictor plates?
Well, it says plate tracks. I think that counts Atlanta.
Well, because my idea was if you're taking the plates off, go nuts still with Daytona then.
Unrestricted.
But I think that's they're saying to take those off. So
maybe. Well, no, they're saying plate tracks. They're not saying plates don't exist.
Oh, so no so basically no super speedways exist. Yeah.
People want to move the Coke 600 up to February, according to the chat.
That wouldn't work with the weather, I don't think. I think it'd be too cold.
It would be cold.
Like there'd be too much grip.
I said Auto Club short track.
I don't know. It's an unknown quantity right now.
Yeah.
You know what brings in big ratings? Surprisingly, Las Vegas. Las Vegas, for where they're usually at on the schedule, especially early on, does bring in a bigger audience. So I guess you could say, plus is relatively good racing, warmer weather. I mean, if we're going for weather, we could say bookend each side of the schedule with Phoenix. But I don't think
Homestead.
Yeah, I was just about to say Homestead. I'll go with Homestead since Jared picked Vegas.
I think that could work. I think that could work. That track needs something there, because obviously we saw last year it ain't all that special if it's not at the finale.
Yeah. Danny?
Sorry, I'm like multitasking here, so my brain's a million different places. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I got a headache too.
One more question from a Ghost Ripper Dragon. Should SHR downsize? And they say the 10 isn't relevant. They're not big Priest fans right now. Briscoe is good. So what do you guys think? Should SHR downsize?
Well, I mean, as a last resort thing, I think they should. I don't see it happening because they're still going to have some sponsorship money and stuff.
They've still got the money. Yeah.
Yeah. They still got the money. But I mean, if you want to have more, success, then maybe it might be a good idea to downsize. I'm not totally against it though, but I don't see it happening for a while.
It's also like, where does that charter go? Who they sell it to?
So that's the thing. Performance wise, I think that would be a better go, but with the charter system, you're probably not getting that charter back.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Roland Race News says, bring back Zoom Lens. That was a podcast I did with Josh about racing movies. We've been talking about bringing that back for sure. It's been really busy the last few months, but that's definitely possible. Give us some movie suggestions. Crazy Creeper 39 was making fun of your plug earlier, Darian, for your channel. Said nice plug, not.
Oh, he's making.
I thought it was pretty smooth. I thought it was a decent plug.
Hey, it wasn't.
It was like the
everybody.
Joey Logano of plugs on the podcast.
Yeah.
Isaac has a couple, I guess, related comments / questions. First is, does Rick Ware sell the 51 charter in the off season? I don't know. I think maybe there's a real question there.
Man.
I would say maybe sell the 15. The 51's kind of become like their flagship number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you could always sell
that. Isaac sent another one that said, between Larson 2020 and now Ware, NASCAR drivers really need to be careful on Easter weekend.
Oh, did they both happen on Easter?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Andrew Mayer sent 5, said, I feel like NASCAR as a whole is going to get hosed with this new contract with the down ratings, decline of TV, and old demographics. Who will pay top money?
That's a question I've been asking. I'm
I'd
like,
argue streaming, who's desperate for content. They're trying to kill cable once and for all. That's my argument there, but it's a good point.
We'll get absorbed into the Bezos machine.
We all will one day. There's no point in pushing back.
yeah.
Blake sent 2, said, Alex Bregman's done well in fantasy baseball for me. Has he really? He struggled this year so far. He had a good game yesterday, but
Damn, fantasy baseball. Damn, you gotta like change your lineup like every day, then, right?
Yeah, I used to do fantasy baseball when I was younger. I was good at it because I was dedicated.
Yeah, good luck with that, yo.
Groovy Goose. It might just be me, but for some reason, I just haven't been as hyped for 2023 compared to the last 3 years. I can't put my finger on why exactly.
I mean, not as many new things anymore. I guess we're kind of.
I think it's the way 2022 ended. I mean, let's be real. Like thinking back, 2022 ended
horribly.
Other than the Hail Melon, like that masked how ugly the second half from Kurt Busch onwards, how ugly the end of that season really got.
Yeah, might be.
That's fair. That's probably a good point. GN NASCAR fan said 5, said, I'm filing a formal appeal to let us suck pick the 10 to the God Emperor Appeals Officer Slap Shoes. And then they say Almirola has the 29th worst average finish. I feel like Almirola, like when you'd be playing like football with your friends, like there's all-time QB. I feel like Eric Almirola has earned all-time suck pick.
He's like just the perennial last kid picked on the playground.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's me in 3rd grade.
He seems like seems like a nice guy, but yeah, it needs to retire. I think it's time to go. Time to go.
A few more super chats. M. Martin fan for life says wall ride clip is the drinking game this weekend.
Oh, you're gonna die. You're gonna die.
Larso, I don't know if they forgot the N, but it's Larso. Why is NASCAR acting super authoritarian recently?
Have you ever looked back at NASCAR history?
That's basically NASCAR history in a nutshell.
Okay, I'll say this. Do yourself a favor and go back and look at Slap's video on the first Talladega race and then come back to me. Go back to the 2000s on some of the calls they had for rough driving.
Yeah. Also, go look at some of the situations as they handled Tim Richmond, for example. I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely, the early days. Mike Manning sent 5, said, how would you feel about Las Vegas for the finale? Also, thank you all for the great content. Very professional and entertaining. Did you see it?
Whoa, very professional. Whoa.
Very professional.
Oh my gosh. You love to hear that. It's usually the unprofessional tag, at least for me. But no,
thank you, Mike.
I would love Las Vegas to be the finale. It would be great. I think like the way they would be able to market it, especially in the Vegas area, like they would market it pretty well and stuff. And I honestly, I think the racetrack would definitely go all out for a championship weekend for sure.
I think it's about.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I think that like the racing we know is good. I think
the optics good too.
I don't know about the optics. Like
it doesn't.
Sorry. The bottom being like filled with sand or something just looks ugly to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
That is weird on that part of it.
Yeah, that is weird.
And like the second race is always very empty, it seems like. And I just like I feel like NASCAR with a lot of this, like let's be real, Phoenix always is going to sell out because there's less seats, and it to me at least it looks like really full. When they turn the crowd mic on, it's crazy. Like when Elliott went around, they turned the crowd mic on. You're like, wow, this feels like a finale.
See, they put that sand in the Vegas grandstands to make it look fuller. But then if you've watched the racetrack for years, then you know, like, oh my gosh, it looks like such an eyesore. And then B, the second race isn't as full. I mean, I'd like to see them try it.
Why are we making it look like Tatooine in the grandstands?
I would almost say let's just get what sponsors we have. Let's blow up some huge signs and let's put it over that. That looks better.
Triple P Production says Cup should run the F1 street course.
Yeah, about that.
We have 2. We're down to the final couple here. 2 from Jimmy Leos. First one, hi guys, that was a great race. What do you think about Chase Elliott coming back to race this weekend and Zane Smith running for Rick Ware in the 51? We kind of already touched on both. happy Chase is back. Hoping that his fans are excited for sure. We all picked him to make the playoffs still. We all think he's going to win a race in the regular season. So I think that about answers that. But thank you for the super chat, Jimmy. And sent one more. Eric, was the RFK race shop your secret location? One of them. I've been very busy. These guys know. I've stopped by. How many we have? We have about 500 people listening or watching right now. I'll let you in a little bit. I've been to the Hall of Fame. I've been to RFK Racing. Been to a couple other kind of museums and race shops that you guys will see some videos in the next few weeks. I also went to a very secret location today that I'm very excited to share with you guys. That one I cannot tell you yet because I don't actually know what the video is going to be. But let's just say I had a very interesting experience at a historic racetrack. Let me put it that way. It was interesting. I know that gives you guys absolutely no information, so I apologize for that. Jupiter Rain, I think this is the last super chat. Will NASCAR add a 17th playoff spot for Chase for the ratings?
What? No.
Don't test them. Don't test them.
Hey, don't test them because they'll think about it. Don't think about it.
Get flashbacks to Richmond 2013.
Yeah, they'll think about it.
And then we'll find out all the mental gymnastics of why that added playoff spot is legitimate.
That sounds like a great idea. But no, I hope not. Yeah.
Truly appreciate all the super chats you all just sent. We just hit the 2-hour mark as well. We've blown through this show very efficiently. Well done, everybody. We are very professional, as Mike said. I'm going to go and end the win pick poll for the chat. I know that was a while ago, but William Byron, by a pretty clear margin, is the pick for the chat to win this Sunday's Cup Series race. Chat's all guessing what track I went to, and there's been a few who've gotten it right for sure.
Oh yeah, there's been quite a few. Yeah, we're not going to say what it is.
I'll say it was a good experience, but it was a very interesting one. I got a video in the works. I'll tell you guys more about it later. I need a poll for where Eric went.
I want to all wrong answers. I do want to point one thing out before we head out. One, I want to thank everybody for watching because we've been you guys have been killing it coming in force the last couple weeks. And also, I talked to these guys about it earlier this past week. We had our most listened to audio podcast ever last week. So,
oh wow,
everyone listening on audio too. I know that we don't shout you guys out as much because it is a live show, but thank you guys. It's been awesome seeing everybody come out this year.
And thank you, Jared, for editing the stuff right away. I mean, there's some certain things you got to cut out. Probably mostly me just talking saying a bunch of what do you call it? Gibberish. Yeah. No.
I just cut out the silence of your mic.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for doing that. Makes me sound a whole lot better than I actually am. So thank you, because I actually listened back on those, and I'm like, damn, it's a totally different show compared to the live one.
Yeah, Jared, absolutely killing it. And we appreciate all of you viewers and listeners at home for continuing to support us and for putting up with my crappy earbud hotel mic.
It wasn't bad, though. It wasn't bad. I mean,
it's not too bad.
Similar setup for Daytona, but you were outside and you were still able to make that work, and you were able to make this work this time. So it was pretty cool. But you'll be back at home next week, right? For my channel?
We can only hope and pray.
We'll see.
Talladega week, baby.
Yep. Talladega weekend. Yep.
Once again, on that note, next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday night, Darian's channel, Black Flags Matter. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to all the hosts you are currently watching or listening to. But gentlemen, I think that's going to do it. Another episode in the books.
Yeah.
How about
great?
That?
Yeah, it was great show. Very efficient show, too. We were talking about efficiency before we started. Yeah,
very nice. Thank you all for listening and watching. Thank you for the support. We will see you again next week on Darian's channel. Enjoy Martinsville.
Goodbye.
Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the copy? Right foot down. We had to go flat. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your head in it. Holy oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Look great.